The I Ching, an overview of Yi studies, and the theory of luck. Definition of Yi studies is a set of knowledge, analysis, and methodologies for dealing with various matters discovered by ancient people through their observation of astronomy and meteorology. They observed the sun during the day and the moon at night, and from the alternating changes of the sun and moon, they discerned a set of patterns, thus naming it Yi. The I Ching is the classic text of Yi studies. What patterns in Yi studies did ancient people discover in their observation of astronomy and meteorology? Specifically, they discovered the three major patterns of the 8 trigrams, Baga, Hilo, and Tai Chi, which form the objective basis for the theory of yin-yang and the 5 elements. How were Yi studies then applied in production and daily life? In modern times, many scholars have acclaimed Yi studies as a universal algebra, in which everything in the universe can be analyzed using its formulas to find solutions to problems. Thus, under the philosophy of interpreting the way of heaven to clarify human affairs, Yi studies were widely applied across various scientific fields. A unique feature of Yi studies, distinguishing it from other disciplines, is its dual systems, one of symbols and the other of text. Therefore, Yi studies are also known as the study of xiangshu, images and numbers. Application of Yi studies. The application of Yi studies theory encompasses a broad range of fields including heaven, astronomy, earth, geography, literature, history, philosophy, mathematics, as well as music theory, military strategy, medicine, and wellness. Integration of Yi studies with medicine. Since the Warring States period and the emergence of the Yellow Emperor's inner canon, Yi studies theory has been integrated with medicine, embodying the concept of interconnection between medicine and Yi studies. In the Han Dynasty, Zhang Zongjing utilized the yin-yang and the 6 J's, meridians, in creating treatise on cold damage disorders, and applied the theory of the 5 elements to write essential prescriptions of the Golden Cabinet. In ancient military strategy, Yi studies knowledge, such as yin-yang, the 5 elements, and the numerology of Hilo, was extensively used in devising troop formations and strategies. Confucius synthesized the theories of xiangshu, images and numbers, and divination, organized the Yi hexagrams, and authored the commentaries on the I Ching. Introduction to basic knowledge of Yi studies. Feel free to continue with the next section for translation. Basic Yi studies. The theory of luck and movement. Luck refers to the movement of celestial bodies, which ancient astronomers observed to understand the universe. So, how did ancient people observe astronomy? This practice can be summarized in 2 phrases. Observe the sun's shadow by day. Study the pole star by night. Observe the sun's shadow by day. During the day, ancient astronomers used basic astronomical instruments like earth gnomons and sundials to observe the movement of the sun's shadow on the ground, marking its position to understand the solar cycle. Study the pole star by night. They observed the moon to infer the sun's position and use the North Pole, constellations like Ursa Major, and the 5 planets as markers. These stars all revolve around the North Star. Hence the phrase, study the pole star by night. Section 1. Observing the sun's shadow by day. Measuring shadows with earth gnomons. The earth gnomon is one of the earliest tools for measuring the sun's shadow. It is set up with 3 points, using sunrise and sunset to determine the east and west directions. The central point is placed facing south, and the observer stands facing south, enabling observation from both sides. as the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. This setup helps to determine the position of the sun at noon when it is at the central point. Measuring shadows with a standard pole. The method of measuring shadows with an 8-foot standard pole involves using the pole as one leg of a right triangle, with the shadow on the ground as the other leg, and the sun's rays representing the hypotenuse. This setup determines the ratio as 3 to 4. 5. Demonstrating the ancient Chinese application of the Pythagorean theorem. The measured sun shadows, known in ancient times as sundial shadows, change regularly with the seasonal cycles throughout the year. The path of the sundial shadow on the ground shifts slightly each day, every 5 days, representing 1 hu, a traditional Chinese time division. The shadow moves by 1 foot, and 3 hu make 1 solar term. There are 24 solar terms in a year, each differentiated by 2 hu. At the winter solstice, the shadow can be as long as 13 feet and 5 inches. At the summer solstice, it shortens to 1 foot and 6 inches. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, it averages 7 feet, 5.5 inches. The movement of the sun and sundial shadow. Length of the sundial shadow is determined by the sun's distance from the earth. The shadow moves 1 degree on the ground each day, completing a full circle of 360 degrees, which gives rise to the concept of the heavens having 360 degrees and being circular. In reality, the sun moves 365 and 1/4 degrees in a year. The daily movement of 1 degree of the sundial shadow marks small increments of 360 degrees in a year, with each season spring, summer, autumn, winter accounting for 90 degrees, adding up to 360 degrees for the 4 seasons. Using 5 days as 1 hu, the year is divided into 72 hu as medium increments, and 24 solar terms as large increments, to calculate the cycles of years, months, days, and hours. In astronomical observations, Earth gnomons or standard poles are placed in 8 different directions, known as the 8 gnomons or 8 standards. This arrangement leads to the drawing of 8 trigrams and the calculation of 8 solar terms. Therefore, it's referred to as the 8 gnomons, 8 standards, 8 directions, 8 solar terms, and 8 trigrams, all synonymous, also known as the 8 standards at dusk. With an 8-foot standard pole, each foot of sundial shadow is equivalent to 8 inches of the pole. 1 foot is equivalent to 80 parts, and 8 feet to 640 parts, equaling the 64 hexagrams of the I Ching. Expansion. For further reference, you can search online for 24 solar terms and sundial measurements, and the 12 branches hexagram table and daily movement diagram. The sun's 3 paths at the winter solstice. The sun rises in the Chen, dragon, and sets in the Shen, monkey. At the summer solstice, it rises in the Yin, tiger, and sets in the Shu, dog. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, it rises in the Mao, rabbit, and sets in the Yu, rooster. The North Star is considered the zenith of the sky. Hence north is up and south is down. At the winter solstice, the sun's path is in the north, representing the upper position, while at the summer solstice, the sun's path is in the south, representing the lower position. During the spring and autumn, the sun's path is in the middle. Thus, the sun's movement has 3 paths: upper, middle, and lower, and 6 positions, left and right. The Yin, Mao, and Chen palaces form the horizontal axis and are associated with the 3 Yang elements. The Si, Wu, and Wei palaces form the vertical axis and are associated with the 3 Yin elements. The horizontal axis is mainly used for calculating the extreme positions of the sun during the winter and summer solstices. The vertical axis is primarily used for calculations related to the moon during the spring and autumn equinoxes. Celestial crossings and hexagram line counting. Observing the sun's shadow by day primarily measures the sun's position in its orbit. Therefore, the ground is considered a static point, and the movement of the sundial shadow is marked to observe the sun's position. From the sun's position, its orbital trajectory is measured. 360 days constitute 24 solar terms and 72 Hu. Using the 4 hexagrams of Can, Li, Xin, and Dui, the 24 solar terms are extrapolated. Each line of a hexagram represents 1 day. So 60 hexagrams account for 360 days. 360 days constitute 24 solar terms and 72 Hu. Using the 4 hexagrams of Can, Li, Xin, and Dui, the 24 solar terms are extrapolated. Each line of a hexagram represents 1 day. So 60 hexagrams account for 360 days.